Nothing like a little rock and roll to wake you up in the morning. I like it. Welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro coming up here at the bottom of the hour. We all know that Hollywood is full of liberals. I mean, I'm just calling it like it is, right? Not a lot of Trump supporters in Hollywood, but we got a guy coming up at the bottom of the hour. We're going to call him Mr. X, or the Hollywood conservative. Doesn't want to give his name out on the air, but he's a longtime producer, and he's actually a friend of ours. Longtime Hollywood producer who happens to be a Trump supporter. He's afraid to speak his mind politically of losing his job. So we're going to talk to him about that coming up here in a little bit. But joining us in studio right now, that's right, he is the voice of KDWN, news anchor John Schaefer with the latest. John, good morning, my friend. What's going on?
Good morning, gentlemen. Well, Las Vegas Metro Police investigating a fatal shooting. It happened yesterday afternoon. Shooting happened at a home on Yellowstone Avenue near East Lake Mead in North Nellis. According to Metro Police, two roommates got into a fight. One of them pulled a gun and shot the other one. The victim died at the scene. The gunman was taken into custody.
That's why I'm glad I live alone, by the way.
That's a good reason to live alone.
Yes.
Project Neon, the biggest and most expensive public works project in Nevada's history, is over, or is it? Officials held a big party last week to celebrate the end of the 3 years of construction headaches, but some work continues. What's left of the $1 billion project, mostly minor items like landscaping and striping. NDOT spokesman Tony Ilias said drivers may encounter some lane reductions or delays into next month as Project Neon wraps up. They widened 3.7 miles of the 15 from Sahara to the Spaghetti Bowl. They built 29 new bridges, added 63 miles of new paving, and other changes, including those HOV lanes that have been quite controversial.
All due respect to construction workers. I respect what they do. And I would not want to be out there in 110 degrees doing what they do. With that being said, one of my favorite movies of all time is Falling Down with Michael Douglas. And there's a scene in that movie where he's frustrated with these construction. I'm not saying they all don't do their job and they all sit there, but some of them just sit there. Anyway, so he takes out a bazooka gun, and in no way, shape, or form am I condoning violence, but it's just a funny movie scene. And he says, I'll give you something to fix. He takes out a bazooka gun, and he blows up the street.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That just reminded me of that scene from that movie with Michael Douglas. And that was, but hey, we're glad they're doing their good work here, but
right.
as citizens of Las Vegas or locals, why did I say citizens? Anyway, I don't know, I'm so much into this immigration thing, but I do think that it is a little frustrating for us to deal with construction because it seems like it's always ongoing. Right outside our studio, there's construction.
I know.
It's annoying, man. They were doing it over the weekend at like 7 in the morning. I'm like, what the hell are you guys doing?
Yeah, they were doing it this morning when I came in. Former Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid calling for the end of the legislative filibuster. In an op-ed piece in the New York Times, Reid said ending the legislative filibuster would help end the era of obstruction and inaction in the Senate. When he was running the Senate, he changed the rules in 2013 to prevent filibusters for most executive branch nominations. He believes filibusters in the Senate are stopping the legislative body from addressing issues that are important to the 2020 Democratic presidential hopefuls, like climate change and gun control. If a Democratic president wants to tackle the most important issues facing our country, then he or she must have the ability to do so, and that means curtailing Republicans' ability to stifle the will of the American people.
Do people really care what Harry Reid has to say these days? I don't know. I'm not a big Harry Reid guy. Are you, JD?
A Harry Reid guy?
Yeah, you look like you look like a huge Harry Reid fan.
Do I honestly look and sound like I support Harry Reid?
Well, you wear an eye patch a lot. I thought that was a Harry Reid tribute to him.
Did you know Harry Reid was a professional an amateur boxer back
I
in the day?
know that.
Yeah,
No,
I respect him for that. I don't like many of his politics, but anyway, I regress. Go ahead.
Part of the rebranding, the Strat, as it's now known, they unveiled their new gaming chips. They feature the resort's new logo. They've opened a new table gaming area. But now that the new chips are out, the old Stratosphere chips will expire on December 9th. So if you have Stratosphere chips laying around, they will become worthless on December 9th if you don't cash them in.
Every meaning of that word worthless. I don't think anyone is dying to get their hands on a vintage Stratosphere chip. By the way, what is on those chips? I don't even know.
I don't know
what shows do they have there. I mean, I like the comedy club there at the Stratosphere, but instead of getting new chips, why don't they just invest some money in a new parking facility? Because that parking garage is hell for me.
That is a bit. It's a bit much down there. And wide receiver Antonio Brown will return to training camp today, a day after losing his appeal about the helmet he must wear. An arbitrator Monday ruled against Brown, who asked to be allowed to wear an old helmet that was not approved by the NFL. He must change his headgear to play in 2019. Not long after the decision came down, he posted a short statement on Twitter and Instagram confirming that is, he will still play this season.
You guys are big football fans. I'm not a huge football guy. What do you guys make of this story? JD, what do you think about this helmet thing? What do you make of this?
I think he had some type of emotional attachment or superstition with his helmet, and now that he knows that he's not going to get what he wants, he'd rather have the $20 million a year he's going to make.
What do you think about this?
I can't believe that all the problems he caused in Pittsburgh, that when they finally decided to cut him loose, that John Gruden decided, hey, that's the guy we need.
All right, I have a solution to this. Tell me if you guys agree or not. If the guy's having all these issues with his helmet, just say, okay, you know what, Antonio, you don't have to wear a helmet. Just go ahead out there without a helmet.
Yeah,
I'd be okay with that.
He doesn't know to put socks on when he gets his cryotherapy, so I'm surprised he even knows he has to wear a helmet.
Just have him not wear a helmet. He doesn't. If you're having all these issues, go ahead, see how that works out for you. See how concussed you will be every game. Let's see how that works.
Concussed?
Yeah, concussed. That's an SAT word. I don't use those words very often, But, I cheated on my SATs. Just don't tell anybody. It's fine. All right, Mr. Schaefer.
I will say this, your vernacular is more expansive than I expected.
I don't even know what vernacular means. I don't know what that does. That mean vocabulary? Is that what you're trying to say?
I'm actually pretty happy with that. Yeah.
Vernacular?
I'm not going to.
That sounds like an artery in my neck. I don't even know what that means.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. Don't. That makes me sound dumb.
It's a scientific word for your broad vocabulary.
All right, fair enough. All right, Mr. Schaefer, we appreciate it once again, sir. We will see you bright and early tomorrow morning. I look forward, by the way, to you doing the news, sitting alongside. On one side, Steve Sanchez, and on the other side, Michael Avenatti.
I'm going to sit between them.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Between them. Okay.
Yes.
That's probably a good idea.
I'm going to feel the heat from both sides.
You could be the referee.
And
the
I will be standing up somewhere.
Fair enough.
I'm
by the
sure
way,
where.
coming up here in the 11 o'clock hour, John, you're a fan of buffets in Vegas, right? I'm a buffet guy. If you look at my belly, you'd understand why. But we're going to give everybody, all of our listeners, the 5 worst things you could do at a Las Vegas buffet.
All right.
That is going to be coming up in the 11 o'clock hour.
Nice.
Yes. Mr. Schaefer, our news anchor, thank you so much, my friend. We appreciate that. And, God, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world today. Really is crazy. We got guys that are having issues with what helmet they're going to wear on the football field. We got issues at buffets. We got Donald Trump going after Chris Cuomo. What's going on in the world? What's going on? I don't know.
I just have one question.
Yes.
To quote the great Black Eyed Peas, Brian,
Yes.
Where's the love?
I don't know. I don't know.
Me either.
I don't know.
I think Antonio Brown was just kind of trying to push the limits and see how far he could go to make the NFL bend backwards. And they said, you don't even matter, sir. Take your $20 million and shut up. And that's what he's doing.
Fair enough. All right. If you want to be a part of the show, I recommend you give us a call right now on the GCI Guys hotline, which is 702-257-5396, 702-257-5396. And here coming up in just a little bit, a restaurant closing down because Kilmeade, who does the show before us, was showing up in that area. I'm going to take Kilmeade's side on this one. I don't always agree with his politics, but this is just absurd. Where do we draw the line? 257-5396, the number to call. Let's go to Jimmy. Jimmy, what's going on?
What's up, Jimmy?
I like to know why the left always tries to quote has-been politicians and these celebrities, like their word is better than their opinion's better than anybody else in the world, and they try and shape their narrative by using people like Harry Reid, has-been that lied about Mitt Romney never paying his taxes in the last 10 years and stuff like that.
Well, listen, I'm not
kind of sad.
Jimmy, it is. I think it's on both sides. Like I just said, I'm not a Harry Reid fan. I never have been. But listen, I would say the same thing about people on the right. I don't think this is just a left thing. I think there are a lot of people that have a lot of egos, especially politicians and celebrities, right? There are a lot of people that are narcissists that think only their opinion matters. I mean, I have I have a lot of strong opinions on this show, but that doesn't mean I'm always right. Even though I might think I'm right all the time, I know I'm not. But, I don't think there's anything wrong with having opinions. But I think if you're a politician, I think your words matter. I say this about people on the left and the right, Jimmy. I think what you say matters. It's okay to have an opinion. It's okay to think you're right. But I think the problem we have with politics today is people are not listening to one another across the aisle. And that's why I think part of the reason why we're in the situation we are now when it comes to politics in this country.
How come nobody ever asked Harry Reid why they didn't change the name Democrats to something else? Because he always complained about the Running Rebels mascot, being racist. And how about the Dixie Democrats? They were pro-slavery. How come nobody ever asked Harry Reid that question?
I don't know if he's ever. I know you mentioned names. You're right about UNLV. He also wanted to change the name of McCarran Airport. I know he's been trying to do that for a long time. I don't know. I certainly race is brought up more on the left than the right. I'll certainly give you that. And look, there's a lot of things on the right that are brought up more than the left. Like, for example, religion. For example, I think at times people on the right hide behind their religion and they talk about their faith. I think our vice president is a perfect example of that, and I think he's done some atrocious things in his life. in my personal opinion, but he hides behind his faith of being a good Christian. Jimmy, the point I'm trying to make is I think it goes both ways. While I don't disagree with what you're saying, I think you could certainly put blame on both sides on this one. And I think if we thought like that as a country and attacked both sides of the aisle, as I did this morning with Elizabeth Warren, I think her hateful rhetoric towards police officers is very, very dangerous, as I think the hateful rhetoric of Donald Trump is very, very dangerous. We need to take both sides and put an end to it.
You know, Donald Trump probably wouldn't have to say half the crap he says if the Democrats weren't attacking him 24/7.
Okay, so let me ask you a question.
Since before he's been in office,
Yeah.
24/7, anything he tries to do, it's wrong. And no matter what it is, it's wrong.
Okay, so let me ask you a question.
Even though Harry Reid and Charlie Schumer and all these Democrats were saying that illegal immigration was a bad thing a couple of years ago, now it's a bad thing because he's trying to try and stifle it.
All right, fair point. So let me respond by asking you a question. What did the Democrats do to force Donald Trump to go into a Texas El Paso hospital and go after Beto O'Rourke in a hospital where there are victims and talk about crowd size? What did the Democrats do?
It's the liberal media that's constantly
What did?
them, asking
So
them
you're
questions,
blaming.
and he replies to them.
Hold on a second.
and
I'm not done yet,
now
though.
he's the bad guy.
Hold on. I'll let you answer,
Tell him
but
to stop asking
hold on.
stupid questions.
I'll let you answer. But first of all, nobody was asking him questions in the hospital. The media was not there. Okay, there were no Democrats that were asking him questions in that hospital.
Who
There was
did
no.
the video on
Hold
him?
on.
How
Let
did
me
they
finish.
quote from him?
There was a video from a cell phone. I'm trying to educate you on what happened in the hospital, and then I will let you respond. No Democrat forced him to go after John McCain and say he didn't respect John McCain because he was captured. No Democrat forced Donald Trump to call Mexicans rapists, and I suppose some of them are good people. Okay, so don't blame Democrats for every single thing that Donald Trump says out of his stupid mouth on Twitter.
I'd say that Trump is partially right with the illegals because I read in the paper.
No, he's not.
Every day that they're committing all kinds of crimes.
Okay,
and they,
so let me ask you a
lot of them are
question.
drunks, and
Okay.
they kill people driving their cars.
Jimmy,
drunk.
here's the problem with some of the words that you just used. You just said, quote, a lot of them are drunks. Please show me a statistic that shows more than 50% of illegals are drunks. Please show me a statistic that shows me more than 50%.
I didn't say percentage-wise.
You just said a lot. You just said a lot. You just said a lot, okay? Do you know?
I'm not saying percentage-wise.
Well, you use the term a lot.
A lot could be used in a lot of
Okay,
different,
well, let me ask you a question.
ways.
Do you think a lot of Americans are felons?
Yeah. The jails are full of them.
Okay, well, your
Thousands of them.
your definition of a lot
Thousands
might
of
be different than mine, but
And the jails are filled with a lot of illegal aliens.
Okay, there's
too.
a reason why.
A lot of criminals.
There's a reason why I
A lot
asked
of
you.
felons.
There's a reason why, Jimmy, I asked you that question. I asked you that question because the chance of an illegal committing a crime is percentage-wise is less than an American. So I disagree with you and the way you're portraying illegals.
Who cares?
What do you mean, who cares? You just said a lot of illegals are drunk and committing crimes. You're factually inaccurate.
It is the truth.
No, it's not. I just gave you the facts.
A lot to me may mean something differently to you. I consider it a lot.
Okay,
a lot more than we already got enough morons in this country. Why do we need more felons and more criminals doing stupid stuff like drunken driving, killing
Listen,
innocent people
I don't
in
want.
cars,
I don't want
which
one.
are reading the paper constantly.
I understand what you're saying, but I don't want one person to drive drunk, whether you're an illegal or not. I don't want one person committing a crime, whether you're illegal or not. But you're trying to portray a lot of illegals as drunks, and that is just factually inaccurate.
A bad place to drive drunk is Arizona.
Well,
anywhere in Arizona.
Vegas is a bad place to drive drunk, too. Let me give out that number again. The GCI guys' hotline is 702-257-5396. Again, that number to call to be a part of the conversation, 702-257-5396. I'm sorry, but to talk about illegals in the way that last gentleman did and say a lot of them are drunks, and it's the same type of language that Donald Trump is using, and I'm sorry. It's just not factually accurate.
It's ignorant and it's all-encompassing. Yes, there are some rapists and drunks and
small percentage, not a lot.
There are some, though. There are a few that cross the border illegally and commit crimes. They commit heinous atrocities. But assuming that every single illegal that cross now, when you do cross the border as an illegal, you're doing it illegally. You are committing a crime. I mean, so they are criminals. but are they necessarily going to commit more crimes in the United States, heinous crimes for that matter? I think that's certainly.
I just don't like the demonization of illegals. Yes, are they breaking the law when they cross the border? Absolutely. But the majority of these people are not bad people. And when you hear Trump's rhetoric, you get the sense that, these people are just horrible people. They're horrendous people, many of them trying to seek asylum, many of them who, and here's one thing that you never hear from Donald Trump. It's the people that overstay their visas. The majority of illegals in this country are those that overstay their visas, but the president will not talk about that.
And that's actually a really big deal because you are given 6 months to renew your visa,
right.
180 days, and you choose not to do that, knowing that you could easily, knowing that is a very, very big deal. I mean, that alone is a pretty big crime as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
just from a morality basis. If you're here illegal, or if you're here legally, you have a visa, and you choose not to renew it for 6 whole months after it's expired, knowing what happens if you don't renew it. That's a pretty big deal to me.
Number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation, 702-257-5396. Again, 257-5396. I want to talk about this story, and I want to actually defend somebody on Fox News, even though I disagree with his politics. He does a radio show here before ours, Brian Kilmeade. He's on Fox and Friends. Well, there's a restaurant that has closed down in Alabama because he went over there to do a speech, which I do not agree with, and I think it is completely ridiculous. This restaurant is called The Shoe Shop, and the owner of this restaurant is not a Kilmeade fan, obviously a Democrat, somebody on the left. And I think this is a really bad precedent we set in this country. The owner said we will be closed. This was a few days ago on August 10th. The owner also says, why, you ask? It is because our neighbors have chosen to host an event that is anti-immigrant, hostile towards brown people, pro-wall, and that goes against what we believe in the shoe shop. And when I mean shoe, it's spelled S-H-U. But the reason why I think this sets a very dangerous precedence is because what about all the workers in that restaurant that are not going to be making tips? What about all the workers in that restaurant that are not making money that day, all because of the owner's political beliefs? Now, look, the owner has the right to close down the restaurant, but what are we going to do? Every single time Donald Trump comes to town, all the people on the left that own restaurants are going to close down the shop? It's insane. It's not, I don't agree with it. And again, to me, this has nothing to do with Brian Kilmeade, and it just has everything to do with the owner.
You know why it's getting attention, right?
Why is that?
Because Alabama's a very red state. And it's a big surprise that a restaurant owner in Alabama would shut down, would be extremely democratic.
Yeah, no, I agree. Number to call again, 257-5396. Let's go to JD. JD, what's going on?
What's up, JD?
Well, congratulations, gentlemen,
Thank you.
on your new time slot with your new hours. And seems like you're off to a rollicking start yesterday and today.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thanks for the comments, JD.
You mentioned the Trump comments, which you played last week, I believe Thursday or Wednesday in El Paso. I believe you played about 9 seconds of the tape. The tape from start to finish, Brian, as you well know, is 1 minute and 47 seconds.
Yeah, I watched the whole thing.
Okay. I think you did a disservice by only playing 9 seconds because the prelude to all of what you played shows a little bit more interplay, interaction. The fellow that was there with the socks, the Trump socks, brought up the fact that he was at the rally.
Let me be very clear. I understand what you're saying, JD. Stay on the line here. Let me be very clear. If that video went on for 20 minutes and for 19 minutes, all he did was, talk to the victims and show compassion, and for 30 seconds of that 20 minutes, if he decided to bring up crowd size and go after Beto O'Rourke, it would still not change my opinion. It is inappropriate. You're in a hospital where there are a bunch of victims that were shot. And, regardless of whether people wanted him there or not, it is completely and utterly inappropriate. If he did a media scrum outside the hospital, away from the victims, and the media was asking him questions, even though I still would have thought it was inappropriate, it wouldn't have been as bad. He did it in a hospital.
It seemed to me in the 1 minute and 47 seconds that I heard, it was a congenial conversation. It was they were having a nice chat or a good chat. I don't know how to say it. But I challenge you to play the entire 147.
But did you not hear what I just said? If you went on for
let your audience, your callers, determine if that was appropriate or not.
But did you not hear what I just said though, JD? With all due respect,
of course I did.
If
I
you went on,
I listened to every word you say.
Okay, good. If you went on for 20 minutes and showed compassion, but in 30 seconds decided to bring up crowd size and play politics, it would be inappropriate. What part of that do you disagree with? I don't understand.
You and I are having a conversation off the air. We're at a bar. We're BSing each other.
Yeah.
And invariably, I'm going to say something exactly like Trump, stupid. And I'm going to realize that I've said it after the words come out of my mouth. And then I'm going to say, geez, that wasn't too smart, was it?
Okay, well, ridiculous.
But
with all due respect, JD, it's a ridiculous analogy because we're not just two guys sitting at the bar. We're talking about the president of the United States. Again,
well, you didn't let me finish again. I said, unfortunately, he's the president of the United States, and every word that he says is analyzed to the nth degree.
And it should be. He's the president. He's the leader of the free world. JD, I got to take a break. I'm sorry, my man. I want to continue this conversation with you another time. So please call back at another time, and I will gladly continue this debate with you. We just simply disagree. We're going to take a quick break. Be back right after this. You're listening to the Vegas Take on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDWN. All right, welcome back to the Vegas Take. Coming up here in a few minutes, we're going to have a longtime Hollywood producer on the line. We're going to call him Mr. X. In fear of losing his job, we can't give out his name, but he is a conservative who works in Hollywood. I want to play this video for you to tell you a little bit what I'm talking about here. This is a Unite America, a bunch of celebrities in Hollywood that are obviously anti-Trump. I want to play this video to give you a little bit of background on what I'm talking about. Here it goes.
As you know, our founding fathers built the Electoral College to safeguard the American people from the dangers of a demagogue and to ensure that the presidency only goes to someone who is to an eminent degree endowed with the requisite qualifications.
An eminent degree. Someone who is highly qualified for the job.
The Electoral College was created specifically to prevent an unfit candidate from becoming president.
There are 538 members of the Electoral College. You
and just 36 other conscientious Republican electors can make a difference.
By voting your conscience on December 19th.
And thereby shaping the future of our nation.
All right, so you get the idea. You get the idea. These are a bunch of celebrities that are anti-Trump clearly. And this is nothing new to people, right? Hollywood is very liberal. So the guy coming up next with us, as I said, a longtime Hollywood producer who is a conservative who says that he is frightened really, to talk about his true political beliefs in Hollywood of losing his job. He's fearful of losing his job. This gentleman is going to be joining us next on the show. We're going to take a break, be back right after this. You're listening to the Vegas Take, 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDWN.